Hello there and welcome back everyone. Our ship, our barge as it's probably looking like, is well underway. I'm kind of really half concerned thinking about it. About what am I trying to say? I'm kind of concerned the ship is starting to look more like a Terran ship rather than its own separate kind of unique race, which is mainly due to the fact that these such large components there take up the majority of the body, which I kind of dislike, but there's not a whole lot I could do about it, is there? But nonetheless, it does look decent. It's nice, bulky. It's gonna have all the transport ships, which I'm okay with. Now we gotta figure out how to finish it up. Cause really, the only big thing I would like is to somehow fill out that side where we have that flat gap. I'm just not sure what's the best way to do that. Have to explore a couple of components and pieces here to try and see. I'm not sure what will work. Is it really just as simple as having just like something basic like this fill it out? I'm not sure. Because this is a nice thin piece here. Although I am using the wrong axis there, kind of moving around. And we'll try this and see how it works. It almost seems like it should be inverted backwards maybe. Not to mention the fact that it's kind of this command center area is kind of elevated, so it needs to be a lot taller actually. So, oh, that's winding it, so let me make it taller. See how tall I can make it until I'm comfortable with how it looks. Oh, and it can also stick out some more, so maybe I want to do that as well, see how it looks. And of course make a copy of it, see how it looks on the other side. So that's kind of okay. It's not a perfect fit though. Yeah, and it even has like an opening on the bottom, which I'm kind of don't like all that much. So I'm gonna make it bigger, as high as possible, and I might. Do I actually want to bring the command center down? Although everything's attached to it, so that kind of ruins that thought process a little bit. But I don't want it to be too low that the cockpit area is kind of in the way. That's the big concern, so let's try and fill this out, and maybe I can just throw another component on it. Because yeah, it's not perfectly fitted. So what I want to do is just fill out the top maybe with something. This looks like a nice simple component to do that. Actually, let me rotate first. I'm not sure which axis. I think a lot of these axes are really picky when it comes to this head, if I rotate that before anything else. Now the question is, which way do I want it? Let's see, that looks pretty plain, and that looks like it could work. Let me just actually, is this a full 90 degrees? No, it's not. Let me fix that. There we go. We'll put it into place. Actually, that's the wrong axis, as usual. I keep misplacing my axes, so we'll get it sized up and try and fill in some and see how that looks on the top. And actually, is that making it longer? Since I rotate, that should be the right one. Yep. And now, how far can I go before it? There we go. I think that's as far as I'm going to get it. And we stretch in there. Texture looks abysmal. If only a little bit, but I can live with that to an extent. Hell, I could probably just invert the textures again. Maybe that'll help. Not really, come to think of it. But that kind of helps a little bit with the command center. Let's see, do I want this to move out anymore? Because it is clipping a little bit. Yeah, and if I pull it out too much, then the exposed area is going to show itself. So maybe that's not a good idea. Still, there's a little bit of section there that I dislike too, so it's not really going to be perfect no matter what I do, unless I use another component altogether, which I wouldn't know what I want to use. Okay, these look like standard antennas or launch pads or something. I don't know what to make of that. This seems like something I could use, I just don't know for what. And otherwise, there's very little I want to do with this, aside from maybe a couple of cosmetic things. So what's left, the big elephant in the room, as it were, is this wing. Can I position this in the way that I like it? Come to think of it, would inverting textures or anything like that actually help it some? Nah, I would argue that doesn't help it. But it goes well with like the dark blue area there, unless... But again, I don't think I can actually get that to fit properly. Lighting is a bit of an issue as well. If there was like a solid gray metal component there to connect to it on the bottom, then it actually would look decent, but I don't think it does. Yeah, now it's floating up. Actually, can I rotate this back some? There, maybe that'll help some and at least gain it more flush. Let's see. How does that seem? It almost looks like it needs to be rotated some angle. Maybe a little bit more. It's gonna look a bit odd. So, yeah, I don't know what to make of this. This is more. These are looking more like fins than actual wings, I gotta say. So, but I guess the rotation did help a little bit with that. Now, for cosmetics, I still would like that, like a central engine component there, but I still have no clue what on earth I can throw on there to actually help with that component. Unless I want to scrap that engine block right there completely for something else. Ooh, wait, can this do it? I think I found the component I wanted. I was looking at it there and it looks more yellow. Unless it's, if I invert it, maybe it looks different. Well, it definitely looks different, but that's more because of the highlight than anything else. Huh. So I think I found the component I want. It is intruding on the yellow portion on top, so I may need to make it smaller. Let's see, drop it down 80 and see how it looks. That looks better. It's not much of a thruster, mind you, but it fits relatively well with everything else that's in. I just don't know if I want to offset in more. Well, if I offset in too much, then it's apparently too much. And it's not quite in there flush, so I think I want to do proportional and stretch it out a little bit. There, that should help a little. There we go. That helped a lot, I feel like, anyway. Now, only other thing that I just want, if it's possible, is to fill out this little ridge or gap here. I'm just not sure with what again. This looks like, oh, I remember this component. This is the component where it felt like it was meant to be work with an engine of some kind. Although it didn't quite work out that way. So what happens if I just move this in the set axis? Maybe even stretch it out some with scaling. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy and anything like that. Just to have it fill out that area some. Let's see, is that enough? What about if I invert the textures? Well, it's not much of an inversion, is it? It looks almost the exact same as it did before. It definitely helps though. I'd rather have it than not. So I'm going to leave that as is. Now, only thing I would like to do is make sure it doesn't look like a Terran Alliance ship. I'm just not sure how to do that. So, the big thought I have is opening up the floodgates. We're going to have access to everything here, but what component I'm looking at trying out to help make it a little bit easier for me to comprehend is to just strictly use the Iconian, ship models. Because I'm really familiar with them and I know how they work, so let me set this by type, or is it style rather? Let me find the Iconians somewhere in this mess. I don't have no idea if they're alphabetical order or not. Let's see, they're Iconians, so let me a lot of them are circular though, that's a bit of a problem. I would like something that adds more blockiness to them. So this will take a little bit of experimenting, but like I said, I want to make the S-Track seem like a more unique race than rather than just stealing the Terran Alliance's ships. Although that doesn't work very well as an engine, but that actually would have been very good for that little gap here. Potentially. But I'm content with that as is. I'm thinking more of like the slope here. If I can fit something on there, that would look good. Only problem is I can't think of one off the top of my head. And these blocks are just... Maybe if I... I have an idea. What if I use this as like a plating of some kind? Would that work? I have no idea if it'll work or not, and I probably want to rotate sideways. Like this possibly? Bear with me a moment. We're going to try something here. So 200 axis, make it a little bit longer, and we're just going to put it on as part of the frame superstructure. And then we'll slap it on there. We'll make a copy on the other side, and I might put a second one on there, but we'll see how this looks. How would that look if I use that as like basically plating? Although I think it does need to be blue rather than the grayish that we're seeing now. Maybe? Can I... Is it possible to like slap a bunch of different plating on here to add a little bit of bulkiness, or is that what I want? This is supposed to be a mobile race with fragile ships, so plating seems counterintuitive. It seemed like a good idea. I like the potential, but this is the wrong race for it, if you ask me. So I'm gonna have to hold on to the idea for another time, I feel like. Because I like that potential. Very scrappy, what is it? Not real engineers. I'm trying to figure... I have no idea what word I'm looking for there. Someone that's scrappy, resourceful, and just slaps things together. Kind of like a junkrat or something. A junker. Scrapyard. I have no clue what term I'm looking for, so let me just give up now while I'm ahead. I'm still trying to figure out what component I want. Because what I like this is more like give it a more circular look. It'll help make it look a little more sleek. So that's a possibility. And no, I hit the wrong one. I don't want to hide it. Only problem is that I have with these bulk blocks is that they're really hard to kind of connect together and make look seamless. Unless I rotate and just have this side here stick out. How do I make this work if I'm going to make it work at all? I don't know if I can make it work. It definitely would be different if I can incorporate it. Maybe I just make it longer then. Whoops. That's not what I wanted. I made it taller, not longer, and that's wires. Stupid me. How hard is... Why do I keep messing up these axes here, I wonder? So, that fills that out at least. What are the problems with it? It doesn't fill in properly in the back, and I probably need something in the front of it. So, and does that stand out? Not really, not at a distance anyway. It gives it a little bit more of a curved look, which I'm okay with. So let me make it a little bit wider. Not too much overlapping, but at least help smooth out that edge some. There, I like that. The texturing is a little bit different though, but it doesn't seem as noticeable from a distance anyway. Now, do I do it again for this component? I kind of want to say no, to be honest, but is there anything else I can go with this? Not that I can really think of. Unless I want to throw some kind of engine at the tip of the wings, maybe? That's probably a dumb idea, mind you, but I'm curious. Well, they're copies though, so this is not going to work as well as I probably would like. Nah, I'll probably hold off on that. I'll abandon that for now and just see. Let me just experiment a little bit, because I don't think these shells are a good idea either. It adds a little more sleekness to the ship, but it's something I do want to experiment with. To slowly master all the 8 or 9, 12 races, however many there are, and then be the master ship designer. Isn't that me fantasizing? Being delusional, as it were. it's something I'll have to hold on to. It would have worked a lot better if I trying this from the start, but maybe we'll get rid of these ships here. I gotta make sure the right one's selected though. And we'll get ready on building our shuttles, I think. The hard part will be I might have to... I can't connect them to these launch bays, because otherwise they're going to be facing towards each other maybe, and we don't want them crashing into each other, so... Let's hold on to that. Actually, let me go back to style, damn it. Maybe I'll use something from the Iconians, potentially. Because this is a more faster ship. I don't even know what a lot of these designs are. Considering they added a bunch of new races, so what? Oh, apparently we've got a bunch of DLC stuff I never knew about. So I'll have to look at that at some point, figure out what the hell those pieces are. So if I were to make a little shuttle, how would I do it? The simplest way to start is like simple cockpit area and build around it there, but how small can I get it? Well, I did set the other one for around 30, so 20 should be pretty good, hopefully. And then we'll get this into roughly the right place. This is going to be a little bit interesting with the camera. I don't think it'll allow me to zoom in as much as I like to get a good look at it. So that is the main issue I might have. Especially since I'm going to have to figure out how to center this. And hope that's enough. Hope that works. Now move it forward. Now let's get our copies going. Hopefully that got them on the bottom. There. And now anything I have connected to a cockpit is going to multiply, so... And then we have to remember to do it again in the front. So... This is going to be interesting, unless I want to do copies like that, but then again, they're all backwards. And I don't think I want to invert them, because then we have ships crash into the command center when they take off. Which doesn't sound effective either. But that's just me. Now, let me turn off this copy there. The scaling is 20, so this should be pretty simple. Actually, I'll just focus on this, and maybe after recording I'll just make a copy of it to save the issue. Or save from repeating the process, cause hell, we already know how it's gonna work. The real question then becomes, how do I want this to look? Do I want it to be more blue with the metal trim, or the silver with the blue trim? Not quite sure. Now, I gotta figure out if there was this. Everything's already rendered in, so let me just turn this off and go back to the standard pirate Terran stuff. Make it a little more simpler. I don't think this component could possibly be small enough. But how amusing is that going to look? Oh, it's not even on the right component. So that's something I had not considered. Let me actually offset this upward. Make it a little bit easier to connect. Because I want to try and see if this can fit in there at all. Make this a really small component. Well, I thankfully can get it small enough. Is it the size I want, or do I actually make it bigger though? Because it doesn't need to be fancy or anything like that. It just needs to work and fit the role. Hell, what if I make it backwards like that? That almost looks like wings of some sort, which I kind of like. Now offset downward. And play with this inverts texturing some, see what looks better. Neither of them look very appealing, unless I were to change the texturing here. And even that's not much different. I'm trying to figure out what exactly is changing. You can see the texture is changing, but it doesn't seem like that drastic a difference, so. Nonetheless, we got that. I'm okay with it a little bit. Do I actually make the scaling a bit bigger or wider? No, that's taller. Let me make it wider. Maybe that'll help a bit. A tiny bit. What about longer? Nonetheless, now I think I want engine on this thing. This is not going to get This is not going to get annoying, isn't it? Trying to figure out where the hell I'm connecting to with all these red dots. But nonetheless, we managed to figure it out, sort of. Now, it's a nice, simple design. I like it as is. Is there anything more I want to put on it, though? Or hell, do I make this bigger? A little bit bigger certainly does not hurt. I don't think anyone's going to notice it otherwise. Now, if I could somehow look underneath it to like put like a landing bay or drop pod or cargo bay, hatch or something, that would be ideal, but I don't think that's going to be possible. So hopefully this gets the point across of what I'm aiming for. Hopefully. And then I'll probably save afterwards to make another copy of it, because they're going to look pretty much identical. It's not much, it's not pretty, but hell, I'm happy with it. It's an improvement over the Infestor at least. Now, I don't think there's anything else I want to do. I still think this component does stand out a little bit, but it's not as noticeable. It's only really noticeable in close. It's not nearly as bad out front, but hopefully I can incorporate more of the Iconian designs later on for the future designs. But I'm happy with it. I'm still half concerned it looks more like a Terran Cruiser, because I'm pretty certain this is very similar to one of the medium type ships that they have. So that scares me a bit. Otherwise, we're making progress. I can't complain. Hopefully the next ones will get better. But we still have to arm this thing. So, well, it's not really doesn't need much to arm, because I basically want it to be as cheap as possible to kind of basically allow me to get these out quickly. And I think how I want to do that is put 2 transport modules on here, so that way I can build one and never have to worry about waiting for a second to be built. Now, where the hell can I put these transport modules that they'll look good? That they'll look appropriate? There, I'll just slap it on the landing bay. That's entirely useful. It's not like it's going to block the hatch for my ships or not. Actually, it can fit relatively well there with some scaling. So let me shrink that down and see how that looks. And then, of course, center it up a bit. Okay, let me sink it in, find a good flush point. There, that actually looks decent there. Now we gotta center it. Center it somewhere. Where would be good to put it? I kinda wanna just put it right beside these landing bays, because then maybe I could fit another one right in front of it. And I got one underneath, so that's good. So one more. Let's go for one more. Go for the same thing, scaling 75 if I remember correctly. At least this will make it a tiny bit cheaper, because the base ship itself is going to cost 42 production, so this basically will cost the same. These 2 transfer modules are practically the same, pretty damn close to just making the ship itself, so I think this is worthwhile. Now we just gotta get it in place. And I gotta see about the possibility of inverting the texture, see if that will help a little bit or two or not. I want to say it won't, but let me see. Is it me, or is that inverting texture not even doing anything? It is absolutely doing nothing. What a useless function. Nonetheless, I think that's all I want to do. I'll slap engines on later iterations of it as the need arises, but for now, we'll just leave it with that. And we are ready to start taking some Krynn worlds, I think. That's the hope, anyway. It may not look like much of a sleek, elegant design, but it serves its role well, and I still got to put some extra shells on the front half, so don't worry, I'll correct that between video episodes. So thank you all for watching.